The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Let me share with you what I think is one of the most important lessons that could be gleaned as a mechanech and as a parent, which comes from a speech that Rav Pam once gave during the keynote at a Torah and Masorah convention. Rav Pam was talking about a personal experience of his before he became Rosh Hashiva of Torah V'das. And said Rav Pam, before he became the Rosh Hashiva, he was an ordinary Rebbi over there in Yeshiva, and he had to go to PTA meetings. So one year he attends this PTA meeting. The mother of one of the children comes over to him and says, "You should know, my son says that you hate him." So Rav Pam looks totally taken aback. Rav Pam says, "I hate your son? I love every single Jew. And especially my Talmidim. I have a special affinity, a special love for every single student of mine. How could you say I hate your son?" So the mother said, "Listen, my son says that many times he raises his hands, his peers raise their hands, and you call on his friends much more than him. It's obvious that you hate him." And Rav Pam says, I feel terrible. Tell your son, I of course 100% love him, and Mitzvah Hashem, going forward, I'm going to call on him much more, and I'm so sorry he felt that way. I'm so sorry he felt that he was called less upon than his friend sitting next to him. So Rav Pam leaves that PTA meeting totally distraught. He was very disappointed, feeling terrible, a bit heartbroken. And he goes to sleep that night, but he couldn't fall to sleep. He's tossing and he's turning. He feels bad. How could a child in his class, a bocher in his shir, think that Rav Pam hates him? So he said that he was tossing and turning the whole night, and at 3:30 a.m., a pshat in a pasuk popped into his head. And he felt that it was such an important lesson to convey to mechanchem, to convey to parents, as to the importance of showing equal love, equal affinity to every child in the class or every single child in the home. And so Rav Pam like this, he says, I don't understand. The pasuk says that Yaakov had two wives, Rachel and Leah. And the pasuk says, Vayehav Rachel miLeah, Yaakov loved Rachel more than Leah. Yaakov had a special love. He loved Rachel even more than Leah. Comes along the pasuk right away and tells us, Vayar Hashem kisnua Leah. And Hashem sees that Leah is hated. And asks Rav Pam, I don't understand. Where in the world did it say anywhere that Leah was hated? It didn't say that Leah was hated. It said that he loved Rachel more than Leah. It didn't say that Leah was disliked. It didn't say that there was any animosity towards Leah. It just said that he loved Rachel more. And said, Rav Pam, you see from here a tremendous yesod. A Rebbi, a teacher, may love every single one of their students. Every single member of the class is a subject of their love. You may have a parent, and he loves, obviously, every single one of his children. But let's say you have that teacher, that Rebbi, who demonstrates, who displays some extra dose of love to one of the children in the class. He has some extra affinity to one Talmud of his, and it's shown, it's demonstrated in front of others. That special affection is exhibited in class. The reaction is Vayar Hashem kisnua Leah, that the other members of that class, the other children, will feel hated. You have that parent, and he shows that extra dose of love, that extra dose of affinity to one child, for whatever reason it may be. The automatic, inevitable reaction of the others is, he hates me. He hates me. And said Rav Pam, that was the very valuable lesson that I learned from that story. That even if you love everyone, but if you show something special, something different, something unique to one of those children, automatically that causes a tremendous amount of jealousy and enmity in the class, because everyone else feels he hates me.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org